Welcome. I hope you enjoy the conversation you're about to see between me and another comedian about religion and comedy. These are conversations I'm calling disorganized religion. God bless. And for those atheists out there, may nothing await you after this life.
Sweet. Hey, nerds. This is another edition of Disorganized Religion. I'm your host, as always, Seth Lawrence. And this week, my guest needs no introduction, though he definitely deserves one. The fantastic star of stage and screen and author, the fantastic, the mighty Jamie Kennedy. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I am honored.
Dude, first of all, what an intro, man. And no reason to be honored. I'm chilling. What else have I got going on, man? I appreciate you having me.
I mean, you got a lot going on. You've revived your podcast, hate to break it to you, which is fantastic. You've got some films coming out. You're doing all sorts of stuff. You're performing live again in LA.
You might be the most prepared podcast interview I've ever had.
We'll see. We'll see how long this lasts.
Well, yeah, I mean, I put my podcast back. I've been really, this is a great time to, if you're going to revitalize and to create from home. Let me just fix this lighting here so it even looks nicer. There you go. I got a ring light.
Yeah.
It's even a better time to do that. And, I had a couple movies I shot before the pandemic, and, we'll see where they go. One got picked up by IFC, which is very cool. Another one is going to be Amazon, I think. And, I'm just trying to create. Hopefully that's not annoying you, that picture of the back. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you look good. You look good. Sound great. And
okay,
that's
in terms
awesome.
of live shows, I don't know yet. I mean, I haven't really done any yet in the new year because I don't know. I want to build up my own line,
Yeah, I completely understand. Well, and LA, I don't quite understand who's still getting sick. Who are all of the new people that are still getting sick in LA? I mean, I'm sad for them, but the numbers, I'm just flabbergasted.
It's what's the word can we use, bro? It's interesting, right? I mean, The news is saying one thing. Griffith Park, where I live, is basically every day people are out there doing yoga, playing the flute, having picnics. So, there's no cops there. People seem healthy. Then ICU is overrun. So I don't know what's going on. I do know that, people in the community tell me that the hospitals are overrun.
Right.
But then, I don't know, LA's not open, but for food. But so, that's.
Yeah. And for some filming apparently is still allowed.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, as far as stand-up goes, it does feel like maybe a more genuine way in which to perform it. The speakeasies, kind of these underground live shows that are popping up, and it's been interesting. What are your thoughts on the live shows, and when do you think you're going to want to come back for the live show stuff? Because we did a couple right before the new year where I was just fantastically fortunate to host on 2 shows that you came and performed in, which were great.
Dude, you're so nice, man. I appreciate it. And I think actually one thing about the pandemic that has taught us this stuff is what's important to us. What do you want to spend your time on? I'm not normally doing things I don't want to do. I'm loving creating my own stuff. And even if it gets, 800 views on YouTube, it's my voice. I loved going out and doing comedy. We obviously didn't have it for I don't want to say 6 months maybe, or 5 months, and then the parking lot shows started, and then that was followed by the park shows, the back alley shows, the carport shows. I never broke protocol, though. I never performed inside. I know those are the super undergrounds, but the pool shows, and I totally agree with you. For me to go out of my house, I was doing it almost as a form of just to check it out, to be part of the community, as I am, and also to see what's taking the temperature of the community, run into people I see. And your show, the one of the last shows I did was an amazing show. You know, you had a great lineup. It was artistic. Everybody got 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I think that like today somebody was talking to me about doing a show out of state, and there's no, I don't want to go on a plane, right? I don't want to go on a plane for the because of the demic, but also I really don't care about getting on a plane right now. I'm really enjoying reassessing everything. You know what I mean? That's the one good thing that's happening. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot. I've been very productive. You know, I mean, I'm not out there drinking and doing a bunch of stuff. And I mean, people could do whatever you want, but I've been working out. Like I'm doing things I haven't done in 30 years.
Yeah.
And I put my special out during the pandemic. I clip it up. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi. It's on 5 different platforms. It's doing okay. I just literally had a 2-hour phone call with some guys who, I collaborate with, and we went through 10 premises. That's the first time I've done that in about a month. So I'm starting to I'm getting all my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
But a girl that we both know wanted me to do a show, Rachel Cuthbert. I love her very much.
Yeah,
and
she's great.
She's like, do you want to come out? I'm just like, I just don't know. And she's like, people really need it. And she kind of pulled my heartstrings because she's like, people really need it. And I was like, do I want to go on a beach right now? And I don't know what to do. So I haven't committed to anything yet, but I'm gonna snoop around. But right now, let's just get everything under control. Let's see where the world is. Let's see if people are less pissed. So I'm just chilling.
Yeah, and I think this is one thing that you and I definitely share that I would not have expected sharing, which is a more moderate political view of the world, which is, I think everybody's both good and bad. And I just hope this next 4 years, people who have felt stressed out, justifiably or not, will feel relaxed, like they can take a breath.
Why didn't you think we would share that? I don't even know what I am, but I think I am probably moderate.
I don't know. I guess so. My perception of you when I was growing up is, I knew you from Jamie Kennedy Experiment, which was kind of this, off the wall show, which was great, but not something that I don't think my parents would have loved me watching at the age and background that I was in. And I just thought,
are you Mormon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some of my best shows I've had in Utah, the crowds are incredible there. I don't know if they're all Mormon. No, I don't know at the comedy clubs, but they're great.
I think it's a good mix. I would hope it's probably a good mix. I mean, Utah in general has gotten, certainly Salt Lake Valley has gotten less predominantly Mormon over time, which is good. That's one reason why I wanted to get out of Utah. Actually, excuse me, is because of I think when you have one viewpoint, it's not healthy. And the more viewpoints you're exposed to, the better, the more balanced you are.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, my perception of Hollywood was just everybody is very liberal, very, let's get rid of the constraints of religion. Let's just, do what feels right and press forward. And I think, I don't know, I've appreciated the chats you've had with guests on your podcast where you challenge some of those notions of, well, this guy's just this,
I mean, it's funny. I'm really striking a chord. There's 3 things I'm posting up. I'm posting up actually 4 things. I started a couple of YouTube series about how I got cast. And then I'm doing another one called Why I Think Hollywood is Dying, which I do believe that in a traditional sense.
Yeah.
I do my pod, Hate to Break It to You. I do these clips from a show called Kennedy's Court that was old, but now is being repurposed on Tubi, and I show that. And I just put my stand-up, and now, people are liking that. So I do 5 different things, and I'm really working the social media. It's funny, man. People really get mad. Some people really love it, go crazy when I post some political stuff.
Sure.
some people like you appreciate it, and then there's a few people that really hate it. And
Sure.
I'm not anyway. Like, I don't know what I am. I have to take the test, but I'm very fair. You know, I have Ben Glebe on, who I think is a very liberal Democrat guy. He ran for president. I love a lot of things he says. I love him as a person, as a comedian. He's hilarious. And he was, you know, telling me certain things that I should have done. He tells me why I should vote and stuff. So he educates me, you know, and
Yeah.
he's very different than someone else who well, Flip was more like that, but I really haven't had any really right wingers yet. So, but like I've had like people in the middle and
Yeah.
people on the left, but you know, I'll probably have to have a conservative or two on, and but not even talk about politics, just like that. I don't know what I am, but like I'm all about questioning everything. And I
Yeah.
think that one of the reasons I'm so annoyed with why Hollywood is annoying is because it's just don't talk down to me. Like, don't
Right.
talk down to like, don't tell me what I should know. Like, so many people that are so arrogant, I know they're skeletons.
Mm.
You know, I know that glass house that you're throwing that stone from, and it's got cracks. You know, and it's that's what's just weird. And whatever you want to believe, the arrogance of things is what pisses me off more than anything. And like, it's bizarre. I don't even want to, you know, alienate your viewers, but just like, I don't know why so people get mad at me when I start talking politics, because I don't even talk politics. I just interview people and they tell me stuff, and they say, just some dudes like, make the funny face, face, which I get, but I'm not preaching. I'm listening.
Yeah.
And then they
questioning.
challenge it. Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, what's wrong with that?
Right. Well, and so you talked about like this arrogance and kind of condescendence of Hollywood. And I think that's what people don't like or have traditionally not liked about the religious. And so to me, it's sort of like there are these two, what I grew up perceiving to be opposing cultures, kind of this Hollywood culture and a religious culture that are, I think, becoming almost the same in the way they treat the outsider.
Let me explain that. That's interesting. So I don't want to name names, but I've done a good amount of shows in Utah, and I loved it. You know, the clubs. I never did the colleges, but I've done a lot of colleges. I've never done college there. Then I shot a movie there, and they literally had that Mormon money. And I was there for like 3 weeks. Everybody was as sweet as pie, healthy. It was really healthy. I mean, I would just like work and go home and eat a meal and sleep and get up and work. And it was like, I had some wine, but nobody drank. Nobody did anything. And that's when I don't really drink that much, but really haven't drank in a while, but I was drinking a little bit then, not terribly, but I would have wine. And even that was like hard to get. So I was like, I don't even really gonna drink. And it was just like kind of relaxed, clean living, maybe at times boring, but it was cool, right? And I was seeing a part of the country that I've never seen. I've seen the world, but I never really I spent like a month in Utah. And I got to know people. I got to know a pretty powerful Mormon guy. And when you say the arrogance, I don't get arrogance from religion, at least Catholicism, which I was raised at. And I didn't get arrogance. From the Mormon guy, I didn't get arrogance. Here's what I got from him. You just don't want to do that. I would do certain things. He was like, you just don't want to do that. And I said, nah, that's what I want to do. And I'm not hurting anybody. No, that's not right. You don't want to do that. And that's when I was like, I'm out. I'm like, dude, don't tell me like he was like a first time, you know, producer, and he was telling me certain ways I would say a line and why I would say this line and why I wouldn't say that. I'm going, nah, I just want to say that. And he's like, well, that is, you know, it was like anything with cursing. It's like, come on, dude, what are you, 5? Like, grow up. I'm not saying it's gratuitous,
Right.
but what are you, 5? Like, cursing? And then, so there's certain shit like that I was annoyed with. But as a
Yeah.
whole, I enjoyed the clean living, the coolness, the sense of humor. I just didn't like that, like, it was this way or the highway. So in terms
Right.
of religion, I don't feel arrogance. I've never felt more arrogance than I've ever felt from anyone except in Hollywood. I think
Hmm.
Hollywood, for me, on
Yeah.
planet Earth, and I've been to every continent except Antarctica, it is the most arrogant, more than even academia. And academia is terrible.
Yeah.
I have professors in my family. So
Yeah.
and the problem is that an academic can be annoying and super arrogant, but they have 4 PhDs and they're at Berkeley and they've got tenure. So, all right, I'll take it. The guy wants to call me an idiot. Silicon Valley, a little bit of arrogance, but they're so smart. Again, I'll take it. I'm not going to take
Sure.
it from somebody that's now making a few $1 million a year, but I know that used to get Coke on Western. I'm not going to take that. I'm glad the movie or the TV show hit, but I know where you bought your Coke. I know, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like, stop it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think it's in talking to I suppose just anecdotally, people I guess would encounter that sort of, well, you don't want to do it differently. Some people I think would qualify that as, well, that's arrogant. To tell me how to live my life is an arrogant move. What makes you any better at living a life than not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that could just be, they more like zealots. To me,
Oh, sure.
arrogant is like when the left makes fun of the right for the celebrities they got at like the Republican convention, and they like celebrity shamed the Republican convention, and their celebrities are so much bigger. But then when they
Sure.
lost with their A+ celebrities, they didn't go like, "Damn, we got beat by a bunch of C-listers." It's like, are you 5? Like, who gives a fuck? Can I say
Yeah.
that? Can I say that word? Like, I mean,
Sure.
who gives a fuck? And so the amount of pettiness within that shit is insane to me. And the
Yeah.
right doesn't have the humor and the snarky of the left. So it's like, I feel like the left is like, you're smart, you're funnier, you can compose a tweet better. Why do you pick on children? It's like, why are you picking on these guys? They're old white dudes. You won. But it's
Yeah.
like, it's weird. Even right now with Trump out of the office, I haven't really been. I just started before I got on here because I've done like 3 Zooms today all of a sudden. For some reason.
Yeah.
Long story boring. All the shit I see with all these people still posted all this shit about Trump. I'm like, the dude's gone, and you're still
Right.
posting about it.
Right.
Like, what? Clearly, he
Yeah.
made an effect.
Yeah. I mean, as far as an artist or entertainer, I mean, impact had a huge impact on people that I don't think will ever go away, you know?
No way.
Sure,
Might
you
be
might
top,
disagree
dude. It
with his
might be.
politics.
You tell me, and I don't want to go down that road. You do whatever you want. He might be top. Might be easily top 10, possibly top 5 history of like impactful names of like just that, like, is just a name that
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
It
I
might
mean,
be.
he's up there with like Genghis Khan now. Like, he is.
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe not Gandhi. I mean, it feels like he will be known, but maybe not for the quote unquote right
No,
reasons.
it's not for whatever reasons, whether you like him or you don't. I'm saying
Right.
just in terms of a ringing of a bell, that it's crazy. And you're like, whoa, this dude was like, he's gonna go down in history as like a super famous like person, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's no question. He absolutely will. And every president is going to be compared to him from this point on. If you're worse than Trump, you are so bad. That's basically going to be the comparison.
That's what they're saying.
That's word on the street. All right, man. I usually talk to comedians that are much less well known than you. So I talk to them about what got them started in comedy and all of that. But you've been asked that so many times, and there are some great interviews out there where you answer those questions. And you get into this even in one of your earlier episodes with Jody Miller, which is a fantastic episode. Just for the comedic nerds, it is a great episode for what you guys talk about. So anybody who's curious about that, go listen to it on every podcast platform and YouTube. The Jody Miller episode, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
She gives a lot of good stuff, right? And all the different things she's done.
Yeah, well, and as a male comic, I'm curious about the female perspective on things, and she really gets into it and talks about the America's Got Talent stuff, which is it real or is it not real? I mean, so many questions with all that.
Yeah, she's amazing.
It's great. So what I want to ask you instead are hopefully questions, like your episode with Donut. Is that a nickname? I don't understand. Where she's found questions she wished others had asked. And so what I'm more curious about as a comedian is your kind of definition. So what I want to start with is what do you love about stand-up? Why is that an art form that you have stuck with?
It's a really good question, Seth. Wait, am I allowed to curse?
You can curse. So that everybody knows, I put out 2 versions of the episode, one unedited and one where I edit out the curse words.
Okay, I won't. I won't.
So it doesn't matter. You be you. I want you to be comfortable.
Me. Well, it's weird because it's like a 3-part answer. Like, just so I don't forget it, is stand-up was the only option that I felt I had. And oddly enough, one of the only options you can control, but you can't, but you can.
Right.
It's an art form that I took for granted too much. And it has always welcomed me in more than any other art form, in more arms during my darkest times. And the third prong is that I've done it enough now where I don't need, I'm still into it, but I'm also like, I'm okay exploring other things because 30 years, dude. And I've done pretty much everything you can do in it, except like sell stadiums out and arenas. That's big. But, specials and shows and all of that stuff, and never won awards, which, that's also humongous. So I haven't done all of that. There's obviously more to do, but I've tasted so much. And I was just thinking about this today, like, if it doesn't go back right away or normal, like club owners are usually like, let's go, don't cancel a date. Let's go. I'm talking to club owners now. They're like, we get it, man. Like, we're half capacity right now. Like,
right.
If you want to look at your date and maybe push it back, we get it. Like, everyone's kind of like cool. Like, we've all, not that they weren't uncool, but they're like chiller. And I think like, that's incredible. We're all looking at like the bigger things in life. And stand-up was a way for me just to, whatever craziness I had, I didn't know what path I was going to go on, and I was trying to be something in Hollywood. I knew it was acting-ish, and then it was only because people told me, you should try stand-up, and I was like, what is that? And then I knew about it, but by going to the open mics, learning what an open mic is and signing up and work, it was like, oh, okay, so I can have an idea and I can sign up and I can try the idea. And it was like, and I can get feedback from the idea. So it was like a real test market.
Yeah.
And then in the early 90s, stand-up was totally different than it is now, but it was like, that was your platform. That was your springboard. And everybody, if you had any bit of funniness in you, they were like, go and do stand-up. And so that's what I was pushed into. And then all the thing. I'm more known as an actor, but all of the acting came out of the discoveries from stand-up, from little clubs to coffee houses. There were a lot of coffee houses I played before, like
Yeah.
Starbucks was, before coffee was a thing. Like in
Right.
LA, it was like we had like our own versions of the Bitter End in New York. We had like the Cow's End, which is a coffee place in Venice, and then we had the Tea Room in Burbank, and like 5-6 nights a week I would do coffee houses.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and every type of performer was in there. It wasn't just comics. And you know, I'd see everybody from Sarah Silverman, Janine Garofalo to Ahmed to, you know, Eric Griffin. We were talking about that, you know, a while back. I mean, everybody, people you see now, people you don't see.
Yeah.
So it's just, it was where to do it. And so stand up now it's actually the most important thing now, because tell me when I'm talking too much, but like for me, I got my attention from it, built up my 5, my 8, my 10 minutes, started getting really busy as an actor, but I couldn't put it down. Like a lot of people leave after that point.
Yeah.
But I just felt like I had something in me and I wanted to do more. And like, even if I acted 5 days a week on a set, I had the weekend. So why not go to a club and try to do jokes? And that's when I started getting better and like working up to 10 and 15 minutes. I started, you know, middling for people, even though I was much more known and the headliner, I was still middle because I wasn't as good as a headliner.
Sure.
And that's how they were happy because they got the press, and I was happy because I got the time, and I didn't have to do it, but something was pulling me into it. I guess it was a way I can express myself. And then by that, coming back to what it is now, stand-up is really, and it's changing from stand-up. For me, it's like why I'm loving my pod or whatever you want to call it, my YouTube, is because I just want to talk. You know, in the 80s, if you were watching stand-up, you know, it was, you know, I was raised on Kinison, Seinfeld, and Eddie Murphy, and like Seinfeld's a prototypical amazing type of comic where you just set up punch, set up punch, set up punch, set up punch. You know, Kinison is a different type of comic, wild animal, you know, seems to take ideas and make them funny. And that also worked. And and I did, and I was like, well, I don't know what style I am. And I was more like a character guy who would like, you know, talk about things and then try to act them out. So, and then 90s when I was in there, it was, you know, what they call alternative comedy got big. And I feel like now comedy is the last bastion of speech, and it's being challenged, and I don't even want to have to be funny. Like I just want to have to make a point, you know, and that's what that's what the greats are doing right now. I mean, you know, they're just talking for 5 minutes. You might laugh twice, but God damn it, you're learning. And so stand up is more important than ever. What my place is now, I don't know. I don't want to just have to be funny anymore. In fact, I really don't. I mean, it's nice when people like it, but I want to make a point more than anything.
Yeah. Well, it does seem like there is a move from stand-up to almost profit, not to get super religious with it. But I mean, I think that's the way a lot of people view Dave Chappelle now, is that he's going to come 100%. Out and give truth.
He's a prophet, 100%.
Yeah. There are a couple of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just agree with that.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things you said. One that I want to touch on. One was that you take comedy, or you took stand-up for granted. I'm curious, I mean, in like just personally, you took it for granted, or you felt like you just kind of, I don't know, like wasted time on stage? Or what do you mean you took it for granted at times?
Part of me, I'm so happy that I'm not starting stand-up now.
I think a lot of people are in that boat.
Because I guess everyone's a stand-up now. Like I was thinking about it.
Right.
Anyone who has a bit now, you want to talk about parallel thinking, there might be 1,000 people that have a similar bit, and you can see it.
Yeah.
Besides that, but but another part of me wishes I was, because you can categorize it and step it up and do it properly, in the sense of all you have to do is sign up to all the platforms, and as long as you don't do anything crazy, you won't get banned, and you can literally build your voice every day with inertia. And and that is the most powerful thing, your original voice and people that you connect with, because if you take them anywhere, then you can play a supermarket or you can play a club. So in terms of becoming successful at it, that's what's awesome about today, the way you can do it. Obviously, there's a million people more doing it, but it doesn't matter. Cream's going to be, cream and rise, but it doesn't matter, because there's a little something for everybody. But I took it for granted, in the sense that it was a means to an end. It was a step. As opposed to it being a means to an end.
Got it.
And to me, like, to me, there's only, I don't know enough of the history, but I mean, there's a few stand-up comics. I mean, to me, I think Carlin is probably still the greatest of all time. And, I love him. I love Pryor. I love Eddie Murphy. I love Chappelle. I love Joan Rivers. I love Ellen. I love Rodney Dangerfield. Different people serve different purposes. Roseanne, incredible icon.
Yeah.
But like, in terms of like a pure stand-up, it might only be Bill Hicks. I don't think Bill Hicks, in fact, loathed anyone who did stand-up and led to something else. Maybe Lenny Bruce. I don't know if Lenny Bruce did anything else. But like, and maybe Dick Gregory. I'm not sure. Dick Gregory might have acted. But like, so those guys literally did it as a means to an end, meaning the journey was the destination, the road they were on. And if you watch, you can see why. Even Carlin still acted.
Yeah.
And I mean, and he's one of the most, top prophet. So
right.
I think that I looked at it as a kind of a board, and it was different than it is now, and the world was different than it is now. But there's not a lot of money in spouting off in a coffee shop in Venice.
Right.
And, if someone blew up, one comic was big every 8 years, 9 years.
Sure.
And so you could do great and be in the community, but you're not going to make, $300,000 a night and sell that arena. Now, last year, you might have had 10 comedians doing that.
Right.
So what's beautiful is that, and comedy became the rock star thing, and there was something for whatever your flavor was. So that's what's amazing. But also, I took it for granted in the sense that it's an art form that is not to be toyed with. And it's not to be taken lightly. And the medium is very powerful when used correctly. And I understand what it is now. I mean, it's a vessel. It's to speak for those that can't speak. And there's a fine line to try and say, oh, it's a joke, but put just enough truth in there to make people think.
Right.
And I think that that's where I'm at now. If I continue to do it, which I probably will. I just really want to dig in, and I think that it was such a beautiful, light and fluffy thing for me for many years, and it was a money making thing. Like I went from zero to then starting getting acting work and stuff, and it took me a while, but once I hit. And then I was going to colleges making amazing money, clubs making amazing money, corporates, and it was easy. All I had to do was my 30 minutes and keep it clean and tight. Boom. But I wasn't talking about the pains of mankind and all of this stuff, and that's what stand-up really is there for. I was just literally a traveling clown.
Yeah, but you're not going to really do that at a corporate gig, I wouldn't think.
No, you're not, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful to the art form. It's hurtful to society. It's like, I've done so much shit in colleges, and colleges get a bad rap, but I've had a lot of great shows in colleges, and I've been able to push the boundaries. In some colleges, I've gotten some pushback, and some corporates have been really great, and some corporates are like, come on, make fun of Bob from accounting. We're paying you a lot of money. And clubs, you think you're free, but even some clubs are like, yo, go easy on that stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I was playing by the rules. And I guess what I'm saying is, the art form really shouldn't be bounded.
Sure.
It shouldn't be. If you want to hire a stand-up for a corporate, great, but call them like an entertainer. It's not like, it's
not stand-up.
Bill Hicks's, 1 hour special, which is stand-up.
It's a funny TED Talk. It's not
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not Nanette, like something very painful and personal. It's not Raw, Eddie Murphy album. It's not. It's and it is a college gig is nice, but you don't really want to stand up because you don't want to let them go there.
Right.
Even in our own community, dude. Even at the clubs, the clubs
there's
are awesome.
No-nos.
Well, no, the clubs are awesome.
Yeah.
But it's the people that are going in them now that kind of don't want you to do certain stuff. And it's like, but you just came to the gym and got mad because I dropped the weights. Like, this is what we do here.
Right.
So that's what I mean. I mean, stand-up to me is when comedians are censoring other comedians, it's like, what are you doing? You're cannibalizing each other. Like, stop it. And it's just like, comedy isn't judging. Comedy is judging the world. But if you're in it, you're part of this, I don't want to say fraternity, because you can't just make it men.
Community.
What's the way? Community. Let's say that.
Yeah.
And you see what you got. It's a very, 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 very tough thing to do it. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And I think the ones that do, you like.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. So in talking about some of these people that come to clubs and heckle you either during or after, I have watched your documentary Heckler a couple of times and really liked it. I'm curious, my first question about it is, was it cathartic for you making that documentary?
1,000%.
Yeah.
That's why I made it. It was painful experience in my life, and I didn't know what I was going through, and I'm not a person that takes things in and mopes. I'm a doer. So I turned that pain into action, and I was like, what is this? And so, it was great to do and to see and to really meet these naysayers and get an idea of who they are. And once I did, I felt a lot better about myself.
Yeah. So how long did the project take? I mean, you started filming when?
So I started in 2005, and I met my director, who I'd known before, and I met him at the Improv in Tempe, and he's like, yo, I'm filming specials. I wanted to film a special for you. So then I would have him come on the road with me, and he would get to know my act. And then I would always get some kind of interaction,
Yeah.
And we'd film that. He'd play this back, and I'm like, this is so funny. And I'm like, this is like becoming funnier than the bits. And he's like, I know. And he's like, boom. And then, because it was live, it was in the moment. And that's what I would love to do. I don't ever want to go. I love doing material, but I would rather just talk.
Yeah.
So I go and I started stringing them together, and around like 15 minutes, I'm like, this is fascinating. He's like, I'm like, I think they have something here. And he's like, I think so too. And so we were there putting together my 1 hour special, and then this other project was born out of it. And it was basically just like funny audience reactions. And then the heckles, and I was like, what emboldens these people? And then what is this IMDb talkback page? What are the comments? And then YouTube came out, and they have comments. Jesus Christ, they called Robert De Niro an asshole. Like, it's like these sacred things were just being talked about online. And I was like, who can say that? How could you say that about your mailman, or or
sure,
Meryl Streep or whatever? And I was like, what? Like all of these things, it was just the gloves were never off. People have to understand that the gloves were never off. There was never any gloves, and people just went from having gloves to taking them off and throwing these bloody haymakers. And you're like, what the, So it was just hitting me all at once. I was starring in a movie. It was getting critically panned. I was touring all over the country and the world, and heckles were happening. It was like a new emboldened online was popping in video, and it was all just at this moment. It was just like, and anything that anyone said or thought about you, was in your face. And that is now like Pong was when Atari came out, and right now we're at Fortnite. I mean, that's and it was that painful. So imagine what it is now. Obviously, you don't have to imagine it. So I was like, what the fuck? So then I started dealing with the hecklers, and we started coming up with these scenarios, and we started, when somebody would heckle us, and we would say, well, what if we did this? And we'd ask them then, or can you do it better? Or all of this stuff. So we did that, and real people, they would just do it. And then Michael's like, we really got to get other people's opinions. And that's when we just started, comedians just came amazingly bored. And then like I started reading reviews, and at that time, reviews ceased from going from reviews to actual personal attacks. They left the actual non-biased reviews and became opinion pieces. So then I was like, this is like a form of heckling. Yeah. And then it wasn't just a piece anymore. It was about you as a person. So it was a 3-pronged step. And the people that don't get it, I want to punch squarely in their fucking nose, and save that for the Mormon cut, because I want to punch them squarely in their fucking nose. Because here's why: the people that get it are like you, that get it, and the people that don't, and that's okay. But at least understand why you don't get it. It's not me being a whiny bitch. It's not me being a hurt baby. Yeah, I'm hurt, but I want to find out what this is. So I went and I put myself, no one else, myself as the centerpiece. I am the test tube baby for that. I am the linchpin. I'm the punching bag. And I go out and I find it. And what I found out, it was mostly a lot of people that just had access to a new way to get their voice out. A lot of disenfranchised people, a lot of entitled people, a lot of people without a lot of third eye, that they can't see stuff or self-awareness. And maybe like 1 or 2 informed people that when I confronted them were like, okay, I can see how that's annoying, and maybe it. But for the most part, it wasn't like a regulated system. So I wasn't wrong. And now I got to meet these people. They weren't multimillionaires with, a wife and 3 beautiful children and a house and a successful job. They were disenfranchised. I'm not saying everybody is. Yeah. So and I needed to do that. And I stand by that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great a documentary that everybody interested in stand-up should watch. And my biggest question, right. And it's so much easier to destroy what others create.
100%.
My biggest question after watching it was, what strategies have you developed personally to deal with hecklers, either on stage or off, right? The critics afterward.
I feel like, I was just talking to this earlier about, I think I'm one of the few people that really deal with hecklers, in the sense that I actually deal with them. Like, I give them a voice. I listen to them. I don't want to go down the road and what happened, but there was a lady that was really, really upset about a joke I did. I was just telling someone else this, and she came to me in the club. She grabbed my shirt. The club had told her to get off me. People were like, yo, why are you doing this? I'm like, because it's fascinating. You got to get to know who you're doing this stuff. Then I went to the taco place across the street. She followed me there and still was telling me why. And it's fascinating. A lot of people won't do that. A lot of comics won't do that. Well, fuck you. It's like, no, you got to get to know who you're performing in front of. And also, it's a great piece of content, even though I wasn't filming it. And I really am generally interested in why people are the way they are. Yeah. So for me, when it's never been so emboldened. Like, the audience is so emboldened now that, like, they probably think they can do stand-up. And they probably think they can do stand-up better than you, because they have a Twitter. Right. Or a Snapchat or a Twitch. And they probably think if they have more followers than you, they're better than you. So
Yeah,
that's
or they've
a
told a funny
fascinating.
story once, you know.
Yeah. And then, so for me, I welcome it because, you know, like I'm into exploring and I'm tired of just doing material. So if somebody really gets when somebody really gets offended, that is my bread and butter. Like I really like to break it down on why they're offended, find out why they're offended, and then kind to educate them on why they actually should not be offended, or at least this isn't the house to do that in, or you can be, but like don't stop, you know, this thing from going. And in terms of critics, like of print, it's like you can't do anything. Do not listen to anybody who says just ignore them, just keep going. I mean, yes, you can like keep going. That's one thing, but I just hate those liars. Shut up. We all do this for approval. We all do this because we want some glory. You know, you hear those things, man. I don't care who you are. They're lying to you. Do not listen to them. They're full of shit. And it's hard to ignore. The ones that are hard to ignore are the ones with validity. So if you do like a bad movie or you have a bad performance, like when I've gotten bad reviews for a movie and the movie is going bad and I know it's bad, that stings because it's like, ooh, but and if you couldn't do anything to do it, if you're on a sinking ship and you're like trying to change it, but you have no power, then you're fucked. But like when you get a bad review for a movie, but people love the movie and the reviewer's out of touch, you're like, nah, I know I did good. But like I did a show in Iceland one time and the crowd loved it. Like it was killing, like practically standing ovation. 2 shows, 3,000 people. The review was as if the guy went to a funeral. How terrible I was.
Interesting.
And I'm like, was he at the same show? And I framed it because I had such an amazing time. They loved me so much. I stayed on extra week. And like, I was like, this is fucking crazy. So I framed it because I've always wanted to remember that was 2 different realities that didn't coexist. That coexisted, but the people enjoying it and consuming it, and the person that it wasn't for, who was watching me do my job, and he was reporting it that it wasn't.
And then had a job to tell everyone else who wasn't there what it was like.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna do a quick transition here to religion. So you mentioned raised Catholic. How Catholic was your family? I mean, you guys went to mass every week?
Oh yeah, every Sunday. There's something called Stations of the Cross. I think during Easter I had to go to that.
Sure.
Christmas and holidays. Altar boy, I think from like 5th grade on. I was like an altar boy until like not in high school, but for 3 years. Did a lot of like funerals, some weddings. Actually made good money at funerals.
Oh, interesting.
Did a lot of masses, like the 6 a.m.ers, so early. But you would get tips. Sometimes you get tips. So it was like good. It was almost like a sneaky job.
I didn't know altar boys could get tips.
You could get tips, and it was like if you're an altar boy, you also could get pardoned for school if you were late or something.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind it. All my friends, we all did it. It was totally chill. I know there's a lot of funkiness around it. There wasn't that, my part.
Sure.
I'm sure there was some, but like Philly's a different animal. So I think, but it's dark. I mean, it's got some problems, but I'm saying in my group, we were lucky. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were actually really lucky. It was mostly nuns and priests though. That was my school.
Got it.
More nuns.
More nuns. Yeah. And you went through Catholic school all the way through high school before moving to LA, or when did Catholic school end for you?
Yeah, it never did. I don't know any other schooling. So I don't know what it's like to be. It's kind of funny because I was almost raised in a different way, and I forget about it. Maybe that's why I am so wild in a weird way. But I'm not. I'm responsible.
Right.
But I consider my persona like an altar boy. Like likes to have fun, likes to go right to the edge, but not get in trouble. That's kind of like how I am.
Sure.
And I think that it's weird because I was the only one. I wore a uniform all 12 years. I had 8 years in one school. and then 4 years in an all boys high school. And my mother at the time and my dad, they were doing better financially, and I was like the only kid. They were like, "You're gonna do this for us," and I was like, "Okay," and I liked it
Yeah.
because it was all dudes, and we would laugh a lot and goof around, and there's a freedom without
Yeah.
having to impress girls, and
Uh-huh.
so you're even though the girls' school was right across the way, it's just you can just be snot nosed, sarcastic kid, and that's what it was, and so
Sure.
it
Uh,
didn't bother me.
so you did, I mean, all the catechisms and everything all the way up?
Yeah, baptized, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember it, but communion, confirmation, all that stuff. I did everything.
Yeah. So do you still identify as Catholic religiously or not so much anymore?
Not at all.
Hmm.
I actually am pretty even deeper in the game. Like I used to be, my mom had a pretty big job in Philly. She was like paralegal to a huge lawyer. So I
Yeah.
used to drive the cardinal around, believe it or not.
Oh,
I drove the
wow.
cardinal, some bishops. I'm telling you that I'm lucky, but they were always
Yeah.
cool to me. Maybe I had a vibe of like, don't fuck with me, but it wasn't like that back then. I was like the funny, like goofy kid that was Josie's kid. So I made really good
Hmm.
money. These priests all had this disposable income. And so they
Sure.
would go to these functions, these what they call lay functions, which are outside of the church. I would drive them.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I consider myself having the remnants, the after effects of Catholicism, but no, I don't subscribe to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't subscribe to really any of it. But I will say in the last year, I mean, dude, this is such a rabbit hole we could go down. So I got to be careful with you. But in a
Sure.
nutshell, I'm not one of these people that says I'm spiritual and all this stuff. But there's a
So you're
couple
not that
things.
LA.
No, but there's a couple things that are simple. Like I believe, I want to say I believe in karma.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to make this as simple as I can. It's kind of like if I can look at things from a scientific viewpoint, it kind of makes sense for me. And
Mm-hmm.
like energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So every action has an opposite reaction. So that equates to do unto others as you want done unto you. So that's kind of scientific, and I believe in that. I also
Yeah.
believe in karma. Does it always come back to the person? No, I've seen some bad people get off, but there's a karma that gets on their soul. Like
Mm.
you do see a person can live a terrible life and look like they're getting ahead, but inside they're black and cold. And so
Yeah.
I do believe that is karma.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people who are generally bad people are generally happy people. So there's their
Mm-hmm.
karma. So, but Catholicism, I don't know, man. I don't subscribe to it. I don't subscribe. There is not one way or no way. That's just not. I've met too many Buddhists. I've met too many Muslims. I've met too many Mormons. It's ignorant to say that. But
Sure.
I will say, in the last year and change. Now, just stay with me because I'm going to go weirder with you for a second.
All right. I'm excited.
There's something. How can I say this? I don't want to put off some of your viewers, but there's a lot of twisted things with Catholicism and possibly
Yeah.
most religions.
Mm-hmm.
And, just right now, for instance, if you're a good religious religion, every homeless person that's sleeping outside in front of your church, open your church. If you don't do that, you're out. Get away
Sure.
from me. So
Sure.
you see that everywhere. You're a bullshit artist if you don't let them in. Let them in, right? That's what even in the
Right.
Bible, it says that Jesus let people in, Jesus with the beggars and all this stuff. So
Right.
right away that people aren't practicing what the old scripture, whether it's real or not, says.
Yeah.
But basically, in a nutshell, how can I explain this to you? With the advent or the discovery of quantum physics,
Mm-hmm.
something is coming into play with spirituality, and I don't want to say that because that sounds so corny and hippie, but let's say vibrations and something within the religious world. So how can I explain this to you? Tell me if I'm talking too much. All right.
Yeah, no,
So
you're
there was a professor, scientist, someone in Japan, and have you ever heard of random nodding?
No.
Random nodding is a very cool app. After that, you should look this up. But random nodding is a way, it's an app you get on your phone, and it takes, I can't explain it, but it does something, and you make an intention, and it takes your location, and you think a thought, and what your intention is, it somehow turns it into a longitude and a latitude and sends you to a place. So for instance, people say they wanted to be scared. This is one of the most famous ones. Find something scary, and these people found a dead body.
Oh, interesting.
So
So it's not random. It's not some random geolocation.
Exactly.
There's some algorithm to it.
Yes. So in a nutshell, there was a guy in Japan who did something like this where since things are so blown open, I think religion is going to be exposed, but I think there's going to be parts of it that might have some truth to it. And here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So this guy in Japan, scientist or professor, had people have water in front of them and thought a thought, and that affected the crystallization of the water. So if it was negative, it looked like a water that would be like all freaked out. And when it was positive and loving, it was a beautiful crystal in the atomic level. And it was literally proved that thoughts are things, right?
Yeah.
So thoughts are actual things.
There's an energy.
There's also, yes, and there's also something like when you just said, oh, I don't like your energy. Well, now there's something that was MIT just said recently, some kind of study that we are actually mass, that we're actually some kind of gas, which basically boils down to energy. So if you break our atoms down at the molecular level, there's kind of nothing there, and we're made up of this, I don't know, something that's not solid.
Yeah.
And so when you say I don't like your energy, that actually is a true thing, because it could get your energy onto you, and it can get within you, literally. That's why you don't like, bad vibes.
Sure.
All of that plays into certain things. If you look in certain religions, you can take little pieces of religions and go, okay, that makes sense with that. That makes sense with that. Aliens, in the sense, what we mistaken for Jesus in different things, Jesus possibly could have been an alien. And ghosts, to me, are actually people in another dimension. So that's not really a ghost. It's with the advent of quantum physics, if you know anything about it or read it, it's basically things are happening right next to you that your senses cannot access.
Right.
And when you do, it is because you can pick up on it because there's a break within the quantum realm, which is proven scientifically. So that ghost, spirits, all of this shit could fit into that. So religion gets in that involved because it could be provable in some ways, but I don't know if it's religion. And the bottom line is within that, though, within the last 12 months, all that, there's a lot more religious people than you realize. Like, I call them Jesus freaks, it used to be like when somebody said like Jesus, it was like, you know what time it is? Well, Jesus says it's time. And you're like, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I can tell we're not going to have any fun.
But I know like a lot of, people, I know, young, beautiful women that'll drop a Jesus in there, but they're not like a Jesus freak. They're sensible.
Right.
And then within the last 12 months, with all the shit that's going on and there's a lot of disgusting, horrific things in this world.
Yeah.
And I think that it's being exposed. And when you talk to some of these people that are normal people, but they just believe that God is this higher being power that's going to save them, they describe it in a way that I can see what they're saying. That I don't know if it's God, I don't know if it's heaven, but there's another realm where good shit can happen, and other realms where bad shit can happen. And the way they talk about it, I can see it being some kind of quantum thing. So in the last year, and there's weird shit happening, like if you do, I don't even know enough of the Bible, but the apocalypse, there are weird things that kind of look apocalyptic and like Four Horsemen-esque. And I'm not even a religious person, dude, but I'm just saying. But I think it's kind of basically all that long answer was just tell me if you get it. It's basically, I think parts of religion can be science, and they say it's religion, and it's not so much faith and gooey and spirits and all this, and it's more like it's actually available, but it can be broken down in a sensible term. That I like.
Yeah.
All the other stuff, no.
Right. Well, I think from what I'm hearing you say is that there's truth. There's truth out there, and religion might be getting at some of that truth, but for you to be, that is truth, for you to say that is believable, it needs to be backed up with some science. There needs to be something there that helps it, be material for you. Is that?
Yeah, like you can't but anything can be religious, like to me, in a sense, like organizationism is one of my religions. I love being organized. It makes me feel better. It makes me more efficient.
Well, I think that's why people are getting freaked out with politics, because some people look at politics as a religion.
100%. AI, they're going to say, is going to be a new type of religion,
Right.
And it's like, but like, let's look at an example of like what is supposed to be like quote unquote like religion, but what gives religion a bad name and really turns it off. So for example, we have this pandemic. Over, I don't know, close to 400,000 people have died.
Yeah, in just the U.S.
Just the U.S. I have people on the front lines. I talked to at least 3 different people, my sister being one of them. It says, they're overloaded. I do have some other people I talked to that said they weren't as busy. You hear in the news, California and all this stuff. I don't know. I haven't been in there, but I do see people out and about. But I do know 3 people that have it right now, but they're doing okay. They're not hospitalized by any means. So we have this horrible thing that is being taken us over, affected our complete world, right?
Yeah.
And then you have these businesses that are just completely going out of business.
Yeah.
Right? Small businesses, exactly what you're saying. The heart of our world, somebody just trying to make a living, not sucking off the teat of a corporate nipple. And then you have a national championship game, and you have people in the stands, not as sold out as they say, but enough. Right. But then after that, you go to a camera in Alabama, and you see 10 blocks of people celebrating, just pretty much inside of each other practically. It's insane. Very little masks. And yet you see a small restaurant and a mother and a father crying because their business is going out of business in 40 years. But yet the college football sustains to a religious belief or to be better a human being, and ESPN promotes it, which is owned by Disney. And I just call bullshit, man. You're fucking bullshit scumbag liars.
Yeah.
And they need to be called out, because you're telling me your leisurely activity, your football game, your complete escapism that just no effect on mankind whatsoever is better than this family eating and learning how to make enough money so you can be entertained? That is the opposite of religion. I can argue that's demonic.
Yeah.
And yet, you no wonder why people, if I was those small businesses, I would be blowing up the world. Like, it makes
Yeah.
me insane. So whatever that is, but those are the high and mighty people that get behind religion. And that's why religion has a bad name, dude.
Right. Yeah, very, very good points. Very good. I think we just found your prophetic calling right there. That's
Which
where
is
you
what?
go. You go out
No,
and you empower the small business person.
It's disgusting. Like, if somebody's trying to do everything right and just survive, but yet they're across the way from a movie set, and God bless it, that's my world. I
Yeah.
love it. But they can eat, and what is necessary about escapism? It's
Right.
not.
Well, why can't you merge the two? Why can't they be open and the escapists go eat at the restaurant that wants to feed them?
100%.
Right.
100%. Because that's another podcast, bro. But
I
it's
know.
like, that's where, and all these high and mighty moralistic stances, it's like, you know, I'll tell you the beef with a religion. Since I don't know if are you religious?
I am. Yeah. We still do church as a family every week. Yeah. Oh yeah. I did the
But you
2-year
left it.
mission. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at my mom's funeral, my dad's funeral, my brother, there's many steps to a funeral, wanted to say a few words.
Sure.
And he said, "Father, may I say something?" And the priest said, "No, this is not now." And I don't think he was supposed to do it there anyway.
Yeah.
The mass was just a very cold, stoic thing, which masses are. And then afterwards, we had a huge party. And my brother then gave this great story and speech and all this stuff. And all my dad's kids did. So the fact that the priest was so cold.
Yeah.
And if you're a good person, you're empathetic. And if you're a cold person, you're a bullshit artist.
Right.
So don't be religious if you're not empathetic. If you're not empathetic, you're bullshit.
Yeah.
Empathy is a religion, bro.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. And I think it's for the individual, right? And I mean, at a memorial service for a parent, who cares about protocol, right? I mean,
Exactly.
do what's going to help the grieving family grieve and celebrate the life that they are there to celebrate. Wholeheartedly agree.
Yes.
With that, I want to, you've been so generous with your time. I want to give you a chance. I'm ending every episode now with the opportunity for the guest to pepper me, since I've been bothering you with questions about what's deep and personal to you, to then ask me, what's the deal? What's the deal with Mormonism? So, Jamie Kennedy, what is the deal with Mormonism? Any questions you have for me?
Well, tell me. I'll tell you what I know, and then maybe I'll think of something. Like,
sure.
I mean, Mormons don't drink, right, or
Correct.
smoke or anything like that. Correct.
Right. No
and
recreational
don't engage
drugs.
Engage in sex before you're wed, or no?
No. Nope. Celibacy.
But then you can have how many
abstinence.
wives?
So in early days of the church, 1830s to kind of late 1800s, there was polygamy. It is no longer practiced by the mainstream faith any longer. So as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, one woman, one wife.
Are you married?
I am.
Do you have kids?
We have 3.
How old are you, dude?
I'm 34.
Yeah, you're Mormon. Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you pray to? Jesus?
We pray to Heavenly Father in the name of Christ. So we end every prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. But we pray to Heavenly Father.
What is it? Are you guys rapture or something? Like, you have to be a Mormon or else what?
I mean, yeah, this is an interesting aspect of the faith. So we do believe the New Testament and the Old Testament as scripture. So we do believe in something similar to the rapture, but I I don't know exactly how that's going to happen. I don't know if we should take the scripture literally that people are going to just kind of disappear or not. And as far as making it into heaven, do you have to be a member of my faith? No, you don't. But Latter-day Saint heaven is really, really big compared to what I understand of Catholicism or a lot of other Christian faiths, which is if you're not a member of the faith, if you've never heard of Jesus Christ, you're out of luck, right? You're going to hell. For my faith, heaven is really big. And in order to go to a traditional idea of hell, eternal damnation, hellfire, all of that, you really have to do a couple of very specific things. And one of those things is you have to have a perfect knowledge of Heavenly Father, of Jesus Christ. You have to have this true knowledge that the gospel is real, and then you have to deny it and convince others that it's not real. So that's kind of the unforgivable sin as far as my faith goes. You can't, if you're fighting against God, that's probably not a good sign for you. So that's where people go to what we call outer darkness or hell. But everybody else is going to some form of heaven, some state of heaven.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you were I thought you were like excommunicated.
We do excommunicate people, but
I thought you were like.
You thought I was excommunicated?
No, I thought you were like, I'm out. You was raising money and whatnot.
No, still in. I'm still in. I still believe.
But you said you are open-minded to many things.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's a difference. Okay, so my faith, we believe.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry, but
you're good.
Let me ask you a simple question.
Yeah.
What is so bad about having sex before you're married? Be honest.
Yeah, I don't. Right. I think there's a theological argument that is the sort of real reason why my faith condemns that action. And then I think there's the real world. I don't know, as far as an action, if it's consensual. I mean, obviously you could get into, rape and that's always terrible, regardless if it's before marriage or after.
We're talking about sex. Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying. So as far as consensual, like, I don't know that it's that bad of an act, but theologically, we believe that it is a sacred rite only to be performed within the bonds of marriage, because that is how, I mean, I don't know, this might go way too deep for you, Jamie, but we believe that we become, if we live righteously in this life, we do everything we're supposed to, we can become like God. That is, we can be, we'll become a heavenly father. We're married to a heavenly mother as two men, right? And in order to create, you have intercourse. And so that act of creation is inherently tied to being like God. And God works within certain parameters, certain rules. And one of those, we believe is in marriage. So
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Since you believe in it because of the outcome and what you think it can affect.
Right. But am I going to condemn someone that, I mean, I have friends that are not of my faith, and I'm not constantly telling them, well, you shouldn't be sleeping around. That's a terrible way to live.
No, I know, but I'm telling you, the last year,
yeah,
there has been a lot of stuff happening in this world.
Sure.
I would say maybe the most bizarro year that I've been alive. And I do think there are evil forces at play. And I do think where before I would have thought, oh, come on, dude, stop being a Mormon, whatever. I would actually think that there are some dark forces at play where sex could, what I would just say sex is sex. But now I could see that there are some, you ever hear that term, like somebody might have some demons? You know,
Yeah.
it's not exactly healthy sex. Like literally that I could see
Right.
that being there now for some reason. I don't know, something flipped on my brain or whatever. And I believe in energy.
Yeah.
And I believe that if you do have sex with somebody and it's not right, like, I mean, not right, but like,
Yeah.
you know, you guys don't vibe and it's not going to be a relationship, that you get that energy on you. You couldn't get people's energy on you. So I'm actually starting to look at it a little different now, as opposed to, you know, people just want to casually do it. I mean, people could do whatever they want as long as it's consensual, but I do think, I don't know, maybe I got older, but I do believe there is something more to it now. But I don't know. I'm not like religious or anything, and I don't know. But the fact that you came to you came to LA, dude. I mean, people would argue you're right in the heart of it. You might be in the pits right now.
Sure.
And you're out there trying to be a white light.
Yeah, we're doing our best, you know, as we should, right? Scriptures say, don't hide your light under a bushel.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that you're doing that, you feel good. That's pretty impressive.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, as far as stand-up goes related to religion, you know, I struggled. I knew I wanted to try stand-up comedy when I came out to LA, really wanted to pursue it. And you know, I was just another white guy talking about white guy stuff. And it wasn't until I'd been about 6 months in that I was like, I have to talk about this aspect of myself, this religious side. But I'd been scared to talk about it because I didn't really know how to talk about it. How do you make it funny, relatable? And as I started working on it, that's when people started remembering who I was. And that's when I started getting spots on stage and shows and things because I had a particular voice.
It's hugely important to do that. Hard to do.
Yeah.
And takes time to craft it, but obviously when you do it, it's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would never go back at this point. So yeah. I think probably age has a lot to do with it. And for me, you know, I think religion is not necessarily the only way to live your life, but the way I view it is it's a method that has helped a lot of other people be happy. And so why not try it? You know what I mean? Why not see what kind of wisdom is there, even though some of it goes counter to the way the culture is moving?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Well, there's 2 points to that. A, religion's made people happy, but it's also had wars. So I don't totally agree with that statement.
Sure.
And there's a lot of religious zealots that are their way or the highway, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But in terms of what you said, I don't know how to say this in a way, because I do watch a lot of videos on different things, and I feel like there is this new spiritual, like Jesus is making a comeback. Like, I do believe this. Like, I believe like the world is divided, and I'm around people that say Jesus more than I've ever been, and I'm not going to church or anything, and they're normal people, but they're like, yo, dude, this shit's biblical. And like, so you'll catch yourself watching a video or saying some stuff like this, and there's something, what you just said, I don't want to forget. The culture definitely wants, how can I say this? Religion is being put upon as this terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, you know, religion has a lot of problems, but morality is not bad. And I think morals are getting more and more tossed out the window. And if you judge anything, then you're this type of thing. So the ability to kind of say, yo, what's up with that? No, kind of, because the culture's going into, hey, everything's a thing. Right. Everything's a thing, right? It's okay. And so that's going to cause a lot of friction. So and I don't know how I said that in the loosest way, but the society, I don't want to say it's getting less religious, which it kind of is, I think it's getting less moralistic.
Yeah, very interesting. I wholeheartedly agree. And it's
that's
also
me, dude. I'm telling you that. Look at me.
This is what I'm talking about.
When Jamie Kennedy's calling for higher morals, we know we got a problem. Like, look at that.
But see, this is what I'm talking about. I met you at the Nightcap LA shows, and then at my show we had you on, and we talked a little bit afterward. And you talk about energy. I just felt like you are such a kind, good person. Oh no, are you there?
Did you freeze right there?
I froze.
You were like this.
That's great. Oh man, I was just saying you were such a
you
nice.
Met me at a show.
Yeah, I talked to you a bit after one of the shows that we were on, and just such a good, nice person. And I knew that if we could have this conversation, there would be some magical things, and that's one of them. I wholeheartedly agree with you about the morality of society, and I don't think it means people are being worse. I just think under a guise of acceptance, we're letting go of certain aspects of society that have kept us together for so long.
Dude, so dicey that you said that. And when you're done with this podcast, clip me up because I'll post on because I'm liking what we're talking about. And I'll repost for you. But it's true. You just said something that hopefully will go over a lot of people's heads that get offended. Under a guise of acceptance, a lot of things are getting let go. Let's go even deeper. Under a guise of too many questions.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. How do you feel about this? Do you think Trump should have been banned on Twitter? Yes or no?
No.
I agree.
I don't.
I agree. And I am not pro-Trumper.
Slope.
I don't know what you are.
No, not pro-Trump.
And I think that they allow, since they're a private company, they're allowed to do whatever they want.
Right.
But that slope is very slippery. And a lot of people that are considered artists that are for that, what's the saying? Dude, you know this better than me. When you rip out a man's tongue, you're not scared he's going to, what is it?
Oh, I don't know.
There's a great quote. When you rip out a man's tongue, and then it's something else. But basically,
you don't know what he's going to hit?
I don't know. Listen, this is what I believe. I do not believe that you should say anything or do anything illegal.
Yeah.
Or immoral. But the difference is people have different morality codes, right?
Yeah.
But there should be a basic 10 laws of morality that we understand. Now, what yours is sex before marriage would be one. For me, it isn't. But, I don't think that would be a deal breaker. But, there's a happy medium in there. But, I think there's a lot of things that we can't talk about that we understand we both agree that what is just universally wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that those things are being pushed back. And then if you question them, why are you questioning it? And that's insanity.
Yeah.
And that is why we're only going to get more fragmented.
Right. And the fact that we can't even talk about what we both, I think, know we're talking around is the problem. I think that is the real problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we have to do. And that's why comedy goes back to the beginning of what you said. It's the most important thing right now. But even that is being looked upon as, they say it's under the guise of a joke, but is it a joke? It's like,
right.
It's a big problem, and it's not going to go away. And I don't know, man. Like, I can't tell you how many people I talk to that we disagree on different things, but at the end of the day, I like them, or they make me laugh, or they're a good person. I don't throw them all out. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, the nuance is just done.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, people think this is going to be interesting. I'm going to say this right now, and anyone who gets mad, you can DM me or whatever. Because it's sad. I have to fucking say this before I say this anytime.
Yeah.
About Trump. I'm not pro-Trump. I didn't even vote, and I got hollered at. but I understand why people are hard at me. But it's
Right.
different because I think there's a lot of bullshit on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
But bottom line is this: the one thing, I mean, if you could say anything about Trump, is that he did break open and expose a system for bad or for good. We're all talking about it and we're looking at it. We're going, what's going on here? Isn't
Yeah.
that worth anything? And I feel like today I'm looking at all the dregs of humanity. Go, it's so nice now. It's so peaceful and so calm and dignity. And I'm like, dignity? You thought Bill Clinton was dignified, but he was using an intern as a humidor.
Yeah,
Remember
and that
when he
wasn't the
liked
first
him?
time. That was not the first time.
It's like JFK gave great speeches. My relative probably. Him and his brother were stooping Marilyn Monroe at the same time. Like, give me a break. People want all this niceness and they want put lipstick on a pig.
Right.
And so now I feel like everyone's like, oh, look at all these. Everything is so nice. And it's like, I see the dirty dealings behind it. And I don't know, man. I think people are going to go back to wearing blinders again. And I don't know. But probably people will hate me for saying that. But why not? Why can't I say that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the way that I phrased the 2016 election was I still didn't vote for Trump. I also didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. But I wanted to know what stuff I should be mad about. And I was convinced with Hillary Clinton, I would never find out about stuff that was going on that I would be upset with.
Dude, that's such a good way to say that. You would find out, you would just not know what you should be mad about. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
And Trump promised transparency. Yeah, and he promised that. And I don't think he gave it to us in the way he wanted to, but we have it. Way more people know about our government now than did 4 years ago. There's no question.
1,000%. And what makes people so mad that when you talk about something, they shun you? Like, what's wrong with just talking about it? When you can't talk about something without being shunned, kicked out, canceled, thrown out, disqualified, what does that say? I don't matter? So just kill me then. Kill everybody that you disagree with.
I mean, that it's hard to feel like that's not what both sides want to do to the other side.
That's insane. Just like kill us.
It's
and then
crazy.
Just walk around and enjoy a depopulated Earth. I mean,
right.
It's just, it's like, dude, tolerance. It's like,
I know. Yeah. And I guess, for you.
And don't be a hypocrite. But then there's so much hypocrisy.
Right. And there's hypocrisy in politics. There's hypocrisy in religion. And my one point on religion is I think there's a huge difference between the organization that brings whatever gospel, whatever beliefs they have. There's a difference between the organization that brings it and the actual beliefs. And
dude, go ahead. I'll shut up. I gotta.
No, I was just going to say I'm worried that with organized religion, it's being thrown out, because of the organization that brings it is imperfect.
Bro, the problem with religion is Mormons are considered very wealthy, correct?
Yeah, I mean, typically we're kind of the Jew 2.0, I say.
Do you have money?
We have sufficient for our needs. We're good. We're okay.
Do you make it, or was it you inherited it?
I married up, baby. I married up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I don't need to know what you do, but my question is,
I mean, I'm a stay-at-home dad right now. I was a lawyer before we moved to LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of law?
Corporate. I did small businesses, usually family-owned stuff, did contract review for them.
So my thing is, are temples open right now or closed?
Closed. I mean, it depends. But here in LA, they're closed.
Do you think Mormons should let homeless people in their temple, at least for a couple of days, to get out of the cold?
Oh, okay. So we have buildings called temples. We also have just regular churches. Temples is where we do some of our more sacred ordinances, and probably not for the homeless, just because there's nothing really there for them. But churches, man, I think, if I mean, yeah, absolutely they should, right? We should have food banks that are there ready for them. And yes, do
you think that the Vatican should sell all of its jewels?
Yeah. I mean, if it were going to charity, and yeah, I think so. You know,
You
my
think the
church,
Mormons could sell all their properties, their jewels?
I think we could do quite well in that way. Yeah,
So
we could do better.
that's where religion has a problem,
Yeah,
because they're literally saying, be kind to your brother. We have jewels that are 600 years old worth $100 million. Now, we're not going to give those to you, but I mean,
right.
it's insanity. So or they could say, you know what, be good to people, but look, man, I'm a priest. I gave up women. I like a Maserati. I'm going to drive it. All right, can I live so that's what I'm saying. So that bullshit is going to disenfranchise people. So
Yeah.
if you have money and there's homeless people crying on your store and you're preaching be open, you can't say that. So that's why religion is a problem, because
and I respect that. I respect that wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think
just
though
like
there's
anything that's hypocrisy.
Right. Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I mean, I think as far as an individual goes, we, everybody individually could also do better, right? We could also do better in trying to just reach out to the homeless. It doesn't have to be the churches, but do they have a lot of the resources? Yeah.
Hold on, let me go back. Damn, this is never going to end. Okay, look. Yes, you're right? But if some dude works at Chick-fil-A,
right?
Or no, it's religious. If some dude works at the sneaker shop,
In-N-Out, or right.
And you just said, well, all of us can do better as people. Great, but that's not actually a statement that I can get behind, because yes, we should, but the dude at the sneaker shop might be a self-involved narcissist, whatever. He wants to make his money. He's not every Sunday going, this is how you should help. So if you're out there saying that, you have to live what you say. So yes, people should be better people, but a lot of people don't even have that awareness. So if you're in that game, damn, that was a good point.
I hear you.
I just don't know, but I do think that people that I never found myself like this once I graduated school. Like my mother was a super hardcore, like Jesus in your heart. Yeah. And my dad was much more of, wild, like question everything. But I do believe, since I turned 50 and with all the stuff in the world, I do believe you do need something to grab onto, man. Like I am looking around going, so, and I've been very fortunate, I mean, I've buried both my parents, God rest their soul, whatever that or he or she may be. But unfortunately, I wasn't there for my mother, but she died in the same bed as my dad. But I held my dad's hand with the rest of my family and looked in his eyes as he took his last breath. And to tell you this, dude, it was probably the most. I've done everything in this world. Nothing compares to it. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever been involved in. Yeah. Uplifting. And I watched him look past me, my sisters, and my brother and see something. I don't know what, but in his eyes, he wanted to go. So that changed me, whatever that is.
Yeah. So you believe in something after this?
Well, for sure, because he was literally like talking, like, and then he just went, bro. He went to the next realm, and it was peaceful as hell. Yeah. My poor mother went in her sleep, which really bummed me out. But people said, you got like a religious experience with your father's death, and it's very rare to get that. My mother was in the same room, same bed. We missed her by 2 days. You know what I mean? And this happens.
Right.
But both live very long lives and very productive lives, and I've got to experience everything with them. So, and no regrets. But to watch his eyes, I was that definitely made me go, all right, maybe I should open up my mind again to this.
Sure. Interesting. Well, man, this has been awesome. Thank you again so much for doing this. Is there anything you want to plug for the 10 people that listen to this?
I would say, listen to my podcast, Hate to Break It to You. Go on my Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. Jamie Kennedy, you can find me there.
Beautiful. And I'll put all that in the show notes. Jamie, you're just a fantastic person. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me about this today.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hope I didn't give you too many long-winded answers, man.
No, it was perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.